Hello everyone, welcome back and nice to meet you. Thank you so much for watching my video. Today I will fix this season Leopard from the 1970s. The issue is this watch is not running at all. The time settings looks okay and the date changes at midnight. But the day-date quickset doesn't work smoothly. Let's disassemble the watch to inspect the details. At first glance, it looked not so bad to me, but soon I noticed that the balance cock had corrosion. I've never seen this kind of problem. First, I want to release the power in the mainspring to disassemble the movement safely. As you can see, the rotor also had corrosion. Needless to say, something is wrong with this movement. Is it water damaged? Or maybe something like that. The movement is season 7210. The movement uses two reversing wheels in the automatic winding mechanism. I'm removing it. Now we can let the mainspring down. There are two case clamps, but one was badly corroded, so I couldn't remove it. I removed the other, and I also removed the stem to take the movement out from the case. But I noticed I need to remove the movement from the dial side. So we need to remove the bezel to remove the movement. I removed the hands. Then I took the movement out from the case and I removed the dial. Once the date disk is removed, we will see the unique calendar quickset mechanism. I'm disassembling the parts. This is the lever to move the day and date disk. Season is a Japanese watch manufacturer, and they are one of the few watch manufacturing brands in the world. They can manufacture everything in-house, from designing the movement to complete watch assembly. We will see many differences between the movement designs of other manufacturers. In my opinion, they implemented complications with fewer parts than other brands. The unique day-date quickset of this movement will be a good example. It uses gravity to change the day and date. A single plate can change the day or the date based on the watch's orientation. I don't think it's the best design in the world, but it's interesting to me. What do you think? This big black screw looks something different from others. Actually, this is a reverse thread screw. Such a screw is usually used for the crown wheel of a movement. And actually this is it. There is a crown wheel underneath. This massive spring is for the day-date quickset. This is a very strong spring. I found the service hole to remove it safely. We cannot remove this set lever at this moment. We need to remove this from the other side. The clutch mechanism is also unique. This is the clutch lever, and it has a spring on the bottom. And this is the clutch. This is the last part on this side. I removed the cannon pinion and I completed the dial side disassembly. I flipped the movement to disassemble the back side. I'm removing the balance wheel. The balance wheel itself looks okay, but you may notice a lot of rust on my desk. Anyway, at this moment, I was optimistic about the movement because the core of the movement, such as balance wheel and pallet fork, was intact. But when I removed the train wheel bridge, this one, I lost my words. Dirty oil or some kind of sticky liquid had contaminated the main spring barrel and parts around. Fortunately, most parts were just dirty and they were intact. By the way, this is a stop second lever spring and the stop second lever. The center wheel was also filled with old dirty grease. We need to clean them completely later. We cannot remove this intermediate wheel. I'm disassembled the click mechanism, and when disassembling the click, we must be careful not to lose the spring. I used a plastic cover just in case. Any single part is essential for the movement. Once you lose any part, you never make it run again. I'm removing the clip for the setting lever. I think we don't need to remove this part in a regular service, but for this movement, I wanted to clean all parts completely. So I disassemble everything as possible. It's time for cleaning. Since I don't have a professional watch parts cleaning machine, I will clean all parts by hand. It's a bit time consuming. The first step is cleaning all parts with IPA. IPA is safe to use for most parts, except for the balance wheel and the pallet fork. This is the mainspring barrel arbor. I couldn't remove the dirt, so I polished it with sanding paper. This is the result. It looks imperfect, but it will be fine. And we cannot use IPA for the balance wheel, so I used benzene for cleaning. The second step is cleaning using an ultrasonic cleaner. I put the parts in watch parts cleaning solution and washed them for 5 minutes. I rinsed parts with water for 3 minutes. Then I used IPA to remove water from the parts. IPA can absorb water and evaporates more quickly than water does. I made a special solution for these parts, reversing oil and the rocker lever. This is a mix of light viscosity oil and benzene. I dropped a bit of oil in benzene. This can clean and also lubricate the inside of the parts. All parts are cleaned and ready for assembly. The mainspring was in good shape, so I reused it. I cleaned and assembled the mainspring off camera. The assembly must be the reverse order of the disassembly. I am assembling the click and installing the setting lever first. I confess that actually this was the third trial of assembly. I forgot to install the setting lever the first time, so I had to disassemble the assembled train wheels. In the second time, I forgot to install the second stop spring. It's frustrating. So, in general, when I service a movement that I've never serviced, I will try to find a technical guide by the manufacturer or YouTube videos made by professional watchmakers. But it's a bit difficult for Citizen watches because Citizen doesn't publish their technical guides on the internet. And Citizen is not a watch that watchmakers are willing to repair and post a restoration video. But as a hobbyist, this kind of a watch is nice to work on because we can find a project watch cheaply and we don't need to worry too much about the success because typically it's already broken and not running. No matter how we messed up it will be okay because it's already broken. Trials and errors are a fun part of this hobby, and learning from failure will be a good practice for beginners. By the way, let me explain the details of this movement. This movement was developed in the early 1970s. From the late 1960s, many manufacturers developed new mechanical movements for new trends. Omega developed Omega 1000 movement series, and Seiko developed 56 series for King Seiko. This Citizen movement is such one. This movement had many modern features at that time, like 8 vibrations per second, so-called high beat, and day and date quickset, and also the hacking seconds feature to stop the movement in the time setting mode. Although this is a 50 years old vintage movement, but for spec-wise, this movement is still better than the low-end mechanical movement nowadays. Wearing such a watch at the time would be, let's say, cool as wearing an Apple Watch today. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't expensive either. This watch was sold for around 15,000 Japanese yen at that time. It's about 300 US dollars at today's exchange rate. The Citizen 8110 is another movement that represents the 1970s. It's a chronograph movement that is used in a very popular Citizen vintage watch, which is well known as bullhead. I previously posted a restoration video and I'm working on another bullhead now. And I recently repaired another 1970s vintage watch, King Seiko. I'll post the repair videos in the future, so if you are interested, please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. On the video, the dial side is almost assembled. It's time to see if this runs or not. I couldn't remove corrosion and stains from the parts completely, but as long as I inspected them, I didn't see any critical damage. But I still doubt this watch can run again. The moment of truth has arrived. I was so relieved to see that. It's running pretty well. I cleaned the cap gels. Citizen uses this type of cap gel. It's easy to service. I dropped a tiny amount of oil on the center of the cap gel and reinstalled it. I did the same on the other side as well. After oiling the balance gels, it's running more strongly. I checked the performance. I checked the bit rate and error. And the rate was good, plus or minus 5 seconds per day. The amplitude was more than 250 degrees, even though I reused the old spring. The error rate was a bit high, 1.6 milliseconds, but I didn't touch it because it's no problem for daily use. I noticed that the big spring was not installed correctly. I fixed it. It should be flat like this. A good point of this movement is that the calendar mechanism is simple and easy to assemble. Earlier season movements used a lot of springs and it was overcomplicated. I'm installing the quickset lever. Since this movement uses gravity to switch the day and date quick change. No springs are used in here. Let's install the day disk and let's see how the quickset works. To change the day, the 12 o'clock position should be down. The opposite is to change the date. I'm installing the movement to the case. I installed the stem and then I fixed the movement with a case clamp. I set the time at midnight, then I installed the hands. The movement condition was terrible, but the case and dial condition was not so bad for its age. So I cleaned the case but I didn't polish the case this time. I don't know what happened on this watch. I guess the previous owner may try to put oil on the movement to try to fix the watch. But don't do that way. We should use a proper watch oil. It will be a lesson we can learn from this watch. That's all for this video. Thank you for along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please leave your likes and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.